Spain is home to some of the most breathtaking Gothic architecture in Europe, where stone, glass, and light come together to tell stories of faith and power. Among its treasures stand three masterpieces: the Cathedral of León, a jewel of stained glass; the Cathedral of Burgos, a UNESCO World Heritage Site adorned with soaring spires; and the Cathedral of Toledo, blending Gothic grandeur and centuries of history. So join me in this video as we explore which are, in my opinion, the top 3 Gothic cathedrals of Spain. Hi everyone, we're in the Cathedral of León, and this is a Gothic masterpiece. The Gothic style is taken here to the extremes. They almost get rid of the walls and replace them with stained glass windows. Hence the beautiful stained glass windows that we have behind us. And it is amazing, and you need to come here, come to Spain. The Cathedral of Santa Maria de Regla de León, consecrated under the dedication of the Virgin Mary, also known as the Pulchra Leonina, and begun in the 13th century, is one of the most representative jewels of Gothic art in Spain. Its imposing exterior reflects the grandeur of medieval architecture, standing out both for its elegance and its detailed ornamentation. For all these reasons, it was the first building to be declared a monument in Spain by royal order in 1844. The main facade, with its 3 portals, is one of the most admired parts. Each of the portals is decorated with fine reliefs and sculptures that depict religious scenes and biblical figures typical of Gothic style. Above the central door, called the Portal of the Judgment, is a large rose window of impressive size and beauty, whose stained glass filters the light into the cathedral's interior, filling the space with color. 2 slender towers flank the western facade. The north tower, also known as the bell tower, is taller than its twin, the clock tower, and both rise as guardians of the cathedral, standing out in the skyline of León. Another distinctive feature of the exterior is the set of flying buttresses and supports that surround the temple. These structures, aside from being essential for the building's stability, are a clear symbol of Gothic architecture, allowing the cathedral to reach impressive heights while leaving the walls thinner to house the famous stained glass windows that flood the interior with amazing light. The southern facade features the Puerta de San Juan, another notable entrance with rich sculptures, while on the northern facade is the Puerta de la Virgen del Dado, decorated with scenes from the life of the Virgin Mary. Overall, the exterior of the Cathedral of León impresses with its verticality, its rich sculptural decoration, and the delicacy of its forms, all characteristics of classical Gothic style. The entire structure seems to ascend towards the sky, a clear reflection of medieval spirituality. The interior of the Cathedral of León is also a true masterpiece of Gothic art. It dazzles with its brightness, height, and delicacy. Upon entering, the visitor is greeted by a majestic space characterized by the verticality typical of Gothic style, which invites one to look up towards the high vaulted ceilings and feel a profound sense of spirituality. One of the most remarkable elements of its interior is the stained glass windows. Considered among the most beautiful and best preserved in Europe. They cover an area nearly 1800 square meters and date back from the 13th and the 15th centuries. These stained glass windows filter natural light into a kaleidoscope of colors that floods the cathedral, creating a mystical and immersive atmosphere. The light passing through the stained glass of its 125 windows casts tones of red, blue, green and gold into the walls, floors and columns, evoking a celestial ambience. The temple has 3 naves and a transept. The main nave is wide and tall, with ribbed vaults supporting the ceiling. The slender columns separating the naves give the sense of lightness and elevation, while the triforiums running along the temple add a touch of architectural elegance. The cathedral's chancel is formed by an ambulatory that allows passage around the main altar, connecting with the numerous side chapels. The ambulatory is spacious, allowing for the passage of many pilgrims and avoiding overcrowding. It's important to remember that the Cathedral of León is a significant stop of the pilgrimage of the route of the Camino de Santiago. It has 9 hexagonal chapels arranged around the ambulatory and enclosed by iron grills. Each of these chapels is presided over by double window with stained glass. The Chapel of Carmen houses a tomb of Bishop Rodrigo Alvarez and has a small altar. The Chapel of Christ combines Baroque styles with the austerity of Renaissance. Right in front is the Puerta del Cardo, a 15th century work with merging arches, the part of the late Gothic period. The Chapel of the Consolation preserves 16th century mural paintings. The Chapel of the White Virgin is considered one of the pinnacle works of the era, thanks to its Baroque altarpiece of great artistic value. In front of this chapel and right behind the main altar lies the tomb of Ordoño II. The Chapel of the Conception, it is presided over by a Gothic Virgin from the 14th century and contains Hispano-Flemish panels inside the tomb of Saint Albito. The small altar of the Chapel of the Nativity dates back to the 15th century. The Chapel of Saint Teresa holds a sculpture from the school of the renowned sculptor Gregorio Fernández. And before focusing on the main altar, we should also notice the side chapel, the Chapel of Santiago, where one can appreciate a Baroque altarpiece, sculptures of great artistic value, and other architectural details that enrich the interior of the temple. It was the former library and is now dedicated to the Virgen del Camino, patroness of León. The main altar is sober yet imposing, crowned by a Renaissance-style altarpiece that contrasts with the Gothic delicacy of the rest of the temple. Behind the altar, the main apse is illuminated by large stained glass windows that tell biblical stories, intensifying the brightness of the presbytery. Another gem of the interior is the choir. Located in the center of the nave, its wooden stalls in the flamboyant Gothic style depict scenes from the Bible and allegorical figures, showcasing great detail and mastery of the sculptural work. Although it breaks the spatial unity of the temple, the retrochoir is a brilliant work of Spanish Renaissance. Construction began in 1577, and in its decorative evolution one can discern the Burgundian influence of Juan de Juni. The retrochoir is conceived entirely as a monumental triumphal arch. The reliefs depict scenes of the Nativity of the Virgin, the Annunciation, the birth of Christ, and the adoration of the Magi. Overall, the interior of the Cathedral of León combines the magnificent Gothic architecture with the spirituality that emanates from its open and luminous space. It is a place where light, art, and devotion intertwine. The Cathedral of León was originally designed without a cloister, but one was eventually built between the 13th and the 14th centuries. It has a square layout measuring 30 meters per side, with 6 intercolumniations on each side and a total of 24 pillars, following the proportions established in the Cistercian cloisters. Surrounding it are various rooms, including the current Cathedral Museum. The museum, located in a cloister area, houses impressive works of religious and pictorial art of incalculable value. Among these is the Gothic sculpture of Ordoño II and the Mozarabic Antiphonary Codex from the 11th century. A must-see. It constitutes a unique collection in its genre, housing pieces from every stage of art history, from prehistory to the 20th century, all distributed across 17 rooms. The museum has access through a beautiful walnut door made before the 16th century. In its tympanum, the scenes of the Annunciation, fully Flemish, is depicted above a space with Gothic arches. In the first room, we are shown the plateresque staircase by Juan de Badajoz el Mozo, which facilitated access to the chapter house. There are several works on display, and all of them are worthy of appreciation. The Cathedral of Burgos, a true Gothic masterpiece, located in the city with the same name, nested at the foot of the Cerro del Castillo and declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994, was built by the order of the Bishop Don Mauricio and Fernando III the Saint, King of Castilla y León. The Santa María de Burgos Cathedral, dedicated to the Assumption of the Virgin, began its construction in the year 1221 over an old Romanesque-style cathedral. This model shows what the old cathedral looked like and compares it with the plan of the new one. The design of the cathedral is basic in a Latin cross plan that gives rise to 3 naves and an ambulatory, typical of Gothic cathedrals. As is also typical in this type of ancient megastructures, its construction extended over a long period of time, and the cathedral was officially finished in 1765, which means that the Gothic style has been combined with other styles such as flamboyant Gothic or plateresque. From inside the cathedral you can access 14 chapels built between the 13th and the 18th centuries, to which we must add another 4 from the 14th and the 16th centuries that open to the upper cloister. The main facade and doorway of Santa Maria presents us with the best known image of the Burgos Cathedral, the two almost identical towers from the 13th centuries, topped by two open-work octagonal pinnacles built by the famous architect Johannes von Köln in the mid-15th century that frame a large gable. The current Gothic facade dates back to 1790, since the old one ended up very deteriorated. Above it stands out one of the most significant characteristics of Gothic cathedrals, a large rose window, the center of which is a six-pointed star, or seal of Solomon. The upper body, also called the Gallery of Kings, there are 8 enigmatic figures, and in the last body, the Virgin and the child Jesus presides. The entire facade is adorned with elegant arches, pinnacles, and numerous statues of biblical characters, angels, saints, bishops, and kings. On the northwest side is the facade of the Coroneria, also called the Apostles' Gate or High Gate, from where we can see an impressive view of the cathedral with the towers, dome, and the Constable's Chapel. The doorway itself was built in the year 1250, and it is a staging of the Last Judgment, Jesus, the judge, to whom the Virgin and Saint John implore mercy. The apostles stand below. The upper part of the gable presents a set of Gothic arches, a series of crowned characters, and higher up, statues of angels. Going down to La Llana, to the right we see the Portada de la Pellejería. In a plateresque style, this doorway was built in 1516 by Francisco de Colonia. The entrance to visit the cathedral is the doorway Portada del Sarmental, which is accessed from the Plaza Rey San Fernando. Before going up the gate, you can see the spindle turret that rounds the corner of the cloister. The Sarmental facade is considered the most beautiful of the cathedral. Its construction dates back to the year 1240 and evokes the theme of the teachings of Christ, written by the 4 evangelists, transmitted by the apostles, and preached on earth by the bishop. At the top of the gable there is a huge rose window, and above it 3 pointed arches that give rise to 13 columns supported in the center by the statue of the Lord, light of the world, and on each side statues of angels. Entering through the main gate of Santa Maria, you will find the trascoro, or the backside of the choir, from where there is a panoramic view of the naves, the triforium, the vaults, and the multicolored rose window, under which an image of the Lord presides. On the left hand of the naves you can see the golden stairway, which is used to go up to the door of the Coroneria. It is inspired by the Italian Renaissance models, made of iron with gold decorations. The staircase ends on a platform in front of the door like a pulpit, adorned with the medallions of Saint Peter and Saint Paul. In the center of the transept, a bronze tombstone on a jasper slab warns us that we are before the tomb of Rodrigo Díaz de Vivar, the Cid, and also of his wife Doña Jimena, placed directly below the dome that serves as a mausoleum. One night in 1539, the entire dome, designed by Johannes von Köln, collapsed. Immediately, constructions began on the current one, which rests on 4 large columns that give rise to a larger, profusely ornamented octagon. It culminates in a large star illuminated by overhead light that seems more the work of angels than man. The enormous fence by Juan Bautista Celma separates the Renaissance choir. Upon entering, you will find the recumbent statue of Don Mauricio, founder of the Burgos Cathedral. The masonry, which consists of 103 seats, was constructed between the 15 and the 1600s. Its statues and reliefs in walnut wood offer a plastic exhibition of the themes of the Old and New Testaments. The main altarpiece occupies the apse of the central nave, and it is the oldest part of the cathedral. This altarpiece was made between 1562 and 1580, replacing the previous one and built by Rodrigo and Martín de Haya. With a Renaissance structure, it offers in its three bodies an exaltation of the great themes of the post-Tridentine Catholic Reform. In the center presides the silver image of Santa Maria la Mayor. Behind the presbytery we find the ambulatory, made up of 5 stone altarpieces with classic themes of the mystery of the Redemption. In front lies the Capilla del Condestable, which is undoubtedly the queen of chapels of the Burgos Cathedral. Dedicated to the purification of the Virgin, its construction began in 1482 by Simón de Colonia, son of Johannes von Köln, or Juan de Colonia as he is known in Spain, by order of Don Pedro Fernández de Velasco and his wife, the Duchess Doña Mencía de Mendoza. Their recumbent statues are at the foot of the chapel's altarpiece. The sacristy was completed by Francisco de Colonia in 1517. When looking up, you can see the dazzling vision of the starry vault, traced and open to the light from above. The aesthetic quality of the presentation of Jesus in the temple's altarpiece is impressive. Everything is exquisitely crafted, the reliefs on the predella, the image on the second body, and the pediment. Among the other chapels of the cathedral, the chapel of Santa Tecla stands out, which was built in the 1730s. The hemispherical dome, as well as the central altarpiece, is of great beauty and a splendid Baroque ornamentation. The chapel of San Juan de Sagún and of the relics documented since the 14th century. The chapel of the Conception and Santa Maria began by Johannes von Köln in 1477 and completed by Simón de Colonia in 1488. The highlight is the large altarpiece that develops the theme of the Tree of Jesse, with statues of San Joaquin and Santa Ana, the Virgin, and other biblical characters. From the ante-sacristy, there is an access to the main sacristy and the upper cloister. The sacristy was completely redone in 1760s and presents scenes of the coronation and the Assumption of the Virgin that are in a colorful Rococo style. The cloister is a Gothic ambulatory in which numerous funerary monuments have been built, almost all of them canonical from the 14th to the 17th century. You will also find other objects such as the highly valuable tapestries belonging to the cathedral's museum and even the chest of the Cid. From the cloister you can also access the Corpus Christi chapel, founded by Juan Esteban Castellanos at the end of the 14th century. Another chapel with access from the cloister is the chapel of Santa Catalina, built in the first third of the 15th century. The walls of this chapel are full of portraits of the bishops of Oca and Burgos. The last stop of the visit is the cathedral's museum. Upon entering on the left side, there are the 9 Spanish Flemish panels that were part of the altarpiece of the relics. It also has other very valuable paintings and other Flemish ones from the Antwerp school. As far as goldsmithing is concerned, in the 2 display cases placed in front of these paintings are several crosses from the 12th and the 13th centuries. Particularly noteworthy are the Gothic gold chalice sets with pearls and precious stones, and many others from several centuries that make the cathedral's museum a mandatory stop. Admiring their art and the mastery with which the masters work on the metalwork and the paintings will not leave you indifferent. The Toledo Cathedral, known as the Primada Cathedral of Spain and consecrated to the Virgin Mary in her Assumption into heaven, is one of the most impressive Gothic temples in Europe. Built between the 13th and the 15th centuries on the site of an old mosque, it is located in the heart of the city of Toledo, declared a World Heritage Site. It stands out for its grandiose architecture, its impressive stained glass windows, and its rich collection that includes works by the masters El Greco, Goya, and even Velázquez. It is a symbol of Spain's cultural and religious syncretism, and one of our country's main tourist attractions. In addition to its incalculable historical and artistic value, the cathedral church has a profound theological significance as a reference center for the pastoral life of the entire diocese, priests, and the faithful. Throughout the centuries, cathedrals have been fundamental pillars in the formation of Western and European culture. The first universities emerged with them. Assistance tasks were developed and they became workshops for artistic creations. Today, cathedrals continue to be living witnesses of this rich cultural heritage and bearers of message of transcendence and values for current generations. And watch this video till the end to understand the history of this cathedral and each of its mysteries. And if you're new here, this channel was not only created to show you what to visit, do or eat in Spain, but also the beauty, culture and traditions of this amazing country. That's why down in the description I'm leaving you a few more videos about awesome places in my country that I believe you will enjoy very much. The construction of the Toledo Cathedral, as we have said, is in Gothic style with a clear French influence. It measures 120 meters long by 60 meters wide. It is composed of 5 naves supported by 88 columns and 72 vaults. The side naves extend behind the main chapel, surrounding the presbytery and creating an ambulatory with a double semicircular aisle. Before focusing our attention on the central part of the cathedral, I want to show you the side chapels that surround the entire temple. They are authentic artistic and spiritual jewels, each one dedicated to saints and devotions, with impressive works of art and architectural details that reflect centuries of history. The chapel of the New Kings was built as a funerary chapel for the Trastamara dynasty. Throughout the chapel stand out the neoclassical marble and bronze altarpieces designed by Ventura Rodriguez in 1772, with paintings by Maella. occupying 3 sections of the exterior ambulatory and built in Toledo Gothic style with a star-shaped ribbed vault, is the funerary chapel of Santiago. The chapel dedicated to San Ildefonso is located in the central area of the apse, in octagonal shape and Gothic in style. Between the 2 minor naves, in the second pillar at the foot of the cathedral, is the Chapel of the Descent, founded by Enrique II. This is the true origin of the cathedral, as the main altar of the Visigothic basilica was located here. The Chapel of the Blessed Sacrament houses the image of Our Lady, the Virgin of the Tabernacle, patron saint of Toledo. The Chapel of Corpus Christi, known as the Mozarabic Chapel, is where the old chapter house was located. In addition to these chapels, there are many others worth admiring. As an example of this, the Chapel of San Blas was built in the northeast corner of the cloister. The greatest artistic treasure that this chapel holds are the mural paintings that decorate it. But if we talk about treasures, would you say that the cathedral could have a room exclusively for storing treasures? Indeed it does. Is the magnificent processional monstrance commissioned by Cardinal Cisneros to Enrique de Arfe in 1515, and it is believed that it was made with the first gold that arrived from America. The cathedral has many other rooms full of wealth in every sense. At the end of the 16th century, the sacristy was built by Vergara el Mozo. In its vault, a magnificent fresco by Lucas Jordan stands out, and in the background a painting called El Expolio by the famous painter El Greco stands out, which he painted in that same place in 1587 on behalf of the chapter. The entire room is a real art gallery with paintings by the most important painters such as El Greco, Caravaggio, Tiziano, Van Dyck, Tristan, Goya, Morales, and José Ramos. The new chapter house was created on the initiative of Cardinal Cisneros. It is made up of 2 rooms, replacing the old one that was in the Mozarabic chapel. The glittered and polychrome coffered ceiling that predominates in this room is impressive. In the center of the cathedral, the majestic altarpiece stands out, which is made up of 3 bodies and 5 staggered sections made of polychrome and glittered wood. Owes its design to Petit Jean under the direction of Enrique Egas and Pedro de Gumiel. Its construction lasted from 1498 to 1504, and great sculptors of the time worked on it, such as Felipe de Bigarni, Diego Copin, and Sebastián Almoacid, and it was glittered and polychromed by Francisco de Amberes and Juan de Borgoña. In the center and lower part of the altarpiece there is a tabernacle, a great work of filigree and glittered wood. The atrium of the altarpiece is topped by a large Calvary, surrounded by a starry sky. But the cathedral never ceases to surprise us, and just behind the main altar there is what was considered at the time the crowning work of Spanish Baroque, El Transparente, or the Transparency. It consists of an altarpiece of Spanish and Genoese marble and represents the apotheosis of the most holy sacrament of the Eucharist. In the center of this altarpiece there is an oval window that gives light to the tabernacle, surrounded by archangels. And it reaches this thanks to the breach made in the vault of the ambulatory, where the glory is represented with all the main saints. In front of the main altar lies probably the most beautiful choir of the European cathedrals. It is composed by high choir stalls. The right side was made by Alonso Berruguete and the left side was made by Felipe de Bigarni. The low choir stalls are carved by Rodrigo Alemán between 1489 and 1495. In it are represented the episodes of the conquest of Granada. The choir is closed by a gate carved by Domingo de Céspedes between 1541 and 1548. We cannot leave the cathedral without mentioning that La Primada is one of the Castilian buildings that has preserved the most medieval stained glass windows. Although they may go unnoticed due to the magnitude of its walls, sculptures and chapels, but there are 750 stained glass windows. From the inside, we have direct access to the beautiful cloister through the Santa Catalina door, which on the inside is late Gothic from the end of the 15th century. Its construction began by the hand of the architect Rodrigo Alonso in 1389 and was finished by the master Álvar González in 1425. In the 15th century, the walls were painted with frescoes by Pedro Berruguete and Comontes on the life and passion of Christ, but due to humidity and inclement weather, they deteriorated. After this, the painters Francisco Balleu and Mariano Salvador Maella painted new murals on the original frescoes between 1776 and 1787. From the cloister, it is incredible how beautiful the tower looks, which has 248 steps leading to the bell tower and the famous Campana Gorda, translated as the Fat Bell. Of course, you should also enjoy the exterior of the cathedral as much as the interior, because it's monumental. The western facade, the main one, is located in front of the town hall, where the Archbishop's Palace is also located. From this square from left to right rises the bell tower, the Puerta del Infierno, the Puerta del Perdón, and the Puerta del Juicio Final. Closing the monumental facade, there is the so-called second tower that was never finished, being used as a chapel, the Corpus Christi or Mozarabic chapel that we have already seen. However, the oldest door from the beginning of the 14th century is located on the north facade. It is called Puerta del Reloj, but it also has the following names: Puerta de las Ollas, Puerta de la Feria, or Puerta de la Chapinería. The rose window over this door has one of these old stained glass windows in the cathedral. The Toledo Cathedral, with its architectural majesty, artistic wealth, and deep spiritual heritage, is a living symbol of Spain's history and faith. This imposing temple is not only a place of worship, but also a testimony to the union between tradition, culture, and art, which continues to inspire those who visit it, connecting the past with the present, making it an essential legacy and a unique destination for anyone who wants to discover the heart of Toledo. My name is Alex Moraras. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, share, and definitely subscribe to find out more amazing places to visit before you come to Spain.